Hey everybody, it's your friendly neighborhood surveyor in beautiful, sunny Southern California. Humid California right now. Kind of wanted to do a video on, or at least do a video that shows how we're teaching some of our new hires about kind of like the design phase of surveying. So we call the design phase kind of like the boundary, the ALTA, any kind of cross sections and stuff, things that get the job to the engineering side for design. So I'm looking for monuments right now, and so this place behind me, it's a church. Housing developer has bought the property, and they're going to be putting some houses or apartments or condos or something like that in here. And on the boundary side, in the field, at least this is the way that I'm teaching the guys, is just start the job. We would go around and find any type of monumentation. Out here in Southern California, our boundary is pretty much tied to street monumentation. So like center line of the street, intersections, BCs, ECs, PIs, stuff like that. And most of our monuments could be anything from 1-inch pipe, 2-inch pipe. If it's a old point that's been set a long time ago, and could be a railroad spike with an X on it, like a chiseled X. It could more and more the city is either requesting like on main highways, main streets, that there'll be well monuments set, which is a sunken monument, and it's normally a brass disc, aluminum disc, something like that, and or spike and washers, so like the cotton gin spikes, mag spikes with the washer with the LS number on it. And so how I go about doing it is, first I go around the property, I kind of see what's already exposed. So if they're spike and washers and they're flush to the street, if there's no evidence of anything being out in the intersection, we'll go out there with the metal detector and listen for something, so we know if we have to dig things up, and kind of just build a game plan on what we can get done for the day. So my job, I see it, is try to turn in as much to the office as possible. What we use to do our boundaries is GPS. So we either we like to set up a base on the job site, do a little static session, and then turn that in so that we get good coordinates. But during that time, we will then just set up a regular base and use our rover and locate all of the found monuments. We no longer set up in intersections anymore and turn angles. I know there's some people that do that, and that's fine. I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. But we find that distance-wise and how much GPS has progressed, it's a much better product, and it's accepted with all of our different counties and cities. And if there is a case where we can't get a good reading from our GPS because of, let's say we're locating a property corner and it falls underneath one of those glorious palm trees or a cluster of them, then we'll set a control point with GPS next to it with like a back site, and then once all the numbers get processed, it goes from grid to ground, then we can set up an instrument on those points and then locate it that way. Now, back in the day, back in a long time ago, at least for me, if you used an instrument and you set up in the intersections, you would have to close your traverse. So just locating with an instrument, rapid angles, usually it was 4 angles, you get the mean, you get the distance, and you're working out that error as you close your traverse, and that kind of proved that you got a good shot and that your distances are matching and everything, and you assume a coordinate, assume a bearing for the most part. With GPS, we shoot everything twice. So there's we use Carlson software, and there's a average function, so we can shoot the point, come back after the satellites have you know, maybe a new series of satellites. We usually wait a couple hours before we shoot them twice, and that second shot will average with the first shot. It'll show you right away before you store it that you know, that you got a good shot that compares well with the first one. And then once we do that, now, you know, we're on grid still. I like to inverse between found monuments and just check it up against our maps that we're given. You're not going to get an exact match because you're on grid and not on ground, but at least you can verify that you're on the right point. So what we are, at least us, we don't do that much when it comes to calculating out that boundary or processing it out in the field. We just get all the information, pictures, descriptions, and everything. So a lot of times, at least, I mean, still here in California, our site here was built in 1966, and much of the survey records are that old. They still call out like 2x2 redwood stakes as their property corners, and I just found some old rebar with caps on them. And you know, so getting good descriptions of your monuments is very important, because they may not match what the last record of survey, at least what was filed, is. And so that's important. And once our boundary was done, it gets processed, gets converted from ground or from grid to ground. You know, we run a level circuit from benchmark. Ours was pretty close by, so it was like a half-mile level circuit, which we use a digital level for. If it's real far away, then we'll just GPS it and then bring another benchmark on site. What I like to do as well is, if I bring a benchmark on site, like just a temporary benchmark, I put it on the other side of the street off our site, so that I know it won't be damaged. And as our job progresses, and there's you know, there's always risk of control points and everything being ran over and bumped and stuff, I like to have something off site, both horizontal and vertical, to kind of check into. Today we're finishing up the ALTA, and I'll do another video on that after this. All right, let me know if you have any questions. Survey out.